Hey guys, it's Libby, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about my grad school experience. I am, I think, 1.5 weeks away from graduating with my master's in social work with a concentration in mental health from the University of Cincinnati. With this degree plus a license, I'll be able to practice as a therapist, which is what my new job is. So I will talk a little bit about the preparation for that specifically, but also just my grad school experience in general, and also my grad school experience during COVID. But before I dive into the content about grad school, I do want to just say that this video today is sponsored by Luisa Jewelry. I have worked with this company before, and I really appreciate them as a company because they are carbon neutral, which is so important. They make fine, very nice jewelry for very affordable prices, and I think that is super awesome. And you know, Mother's Day is coming up, so maybe you want to get your mom some sort of jewelry, or you know, graduations are coming up at this time of year. Maybe you want to get some grad in your life a gift from Ana Luisa, or maybe you are graduating, or you are a mother and you want to treat yourself, or you're just a random human being and you want to treat yourself. All of the above. Great excuse to go buy yourself some nice jewelry from Ana Luisa. So let me show you the 4 pieces that I selected from them, and then we'll dive into the content about grad school. So first off, I'll say that their packaging is really nice. It's like a little cloth pouch with like snaps, so we can totally reuse it. So this is the first pair that I've got. Let's focus on that. There we go. So it's just this really light blue pair. I'm gonna go ahead and put them on and show you them up close. So here are the earrings on. They're very, you know, simple, but I think they do stand out. So up close, let's see if we can get a good shot. Let's focus on that. There we go. I love the like scalloped edge that it has, and the blue is just like barely blue. It's light blue. It's so pretty. So first pair, let me show you the next one. This next pair I really, really love. It's just a really small silver hoop. And I like this because all my silver hoops that you see me wearing, like all up this ear and on my nose too, they're all like crap, to be honest with you. I bought them very, very cheap off of the internet, and I mean, they get the job done, but to have a really nice one makes you feel so nice. At least it makes me feel so nice. So let me just get this on and then I'll show you what they look like. So from a distance, this is what they look like, but if I get up close to show you a little bit better, let us get this to focus. There you go. It is basically just like a hugging ring. I don't know exactly the term for that, but you know, just super tight up on the earlobe, and I really like how that looks, so I love them. Let me show you the third pair next. So this is the third pair that I've got to show you. Let's hope it focuses. Maybe come into the light a little more. Okay, please focus. There we go. This is a third pair. They're just so different, you know. I feel like I don't really see anything that looks like this. So let me put them on and show you what they look like. So this is what they look like on. Let me get closer to show you a bit of a better view of them. I will say these feel a little heavy, but I'm pretty sensitive to things feeling heavy on my ear just because I usually don't wear earrings that feel heavy. I usually just wear some sort of stud. So they're a little heavy, but not that bad. Not as bad as other earrings that I've tried on, that's for sure. So let me go ahead and show you the fourth and final pair. Let's whip it out again in such a cute little pouch. Very nice, very nice. Let's shake them to get them right. There we go. Okay, it's just a really simple pair of gold hoops with, please focus, there we go, with, you can probably see better on this one because it's got the light, some like little rhinestones. And I thought that these were just really nice, simple earrings that are also kind of fancy a little bit, you know, just a little fancy, which is fun in my book. So I was really excited to receive these when I got them, and I don't know, maybe you'd be excited too if they showed up in your mailbox. So if you are interested in shopping Ana Luisa jewelry, bear with me while I fight to find the whole mirror, okay? If you're interested in shopping Ana Luisa jewelry, oh, we're not even in focus. Hi friends. If you're interested in shopping Ana Luisa jewelry, I've got a discount code for you. So follow the link down in the description to see more about that discount, because who doesn't love a discount? But let me just show you this last pair right here. Really simple looking, but they are quite sparkly. It's kind of hard to tell on camera, but they are a little bit sparkly, which I love. So this is the last pair, and I think I'm gonna stick with wearing these for the video. So yeah, thank you again to Ana Luisa for sponsoring today's video, but let us dive into the content of what my grad school experience was like. If I had to sum up what my grad school experience felt like for me, and I think for a lot of my peers in my cohort, I think I would say about 50% a waste of my time and money, to be completely honest with you. There's a lot of content that I thought I should have learned in my program that I didn't learn, and then a lot of content that we did learn that I felt like wasn't really that important. You know, maybe it was part of the course curriculum and I didn't have any choice but to take the class, but I felt like that time could have been used better, spent on something else. Additionally, like I said, I started grad school during COVID, so I started in fall of 2020, and that whole entire academic year, everything was completely online, so mostly synchronous classes done through Zoom and WebEx. It was really quite interesting to go through that kind of experience, and I know students all over were experiencing that same thing, but it was just a bummer. You know, it was easy because I got to stay at home and hang out with my cat and sit in bed and stuff, but at the same time I wanted to make friends, and that was really hard to do through, you know, online classes. So I was not a big fan of that, but what can you do? It was the world at the time, and it still kind of is. So my second year of my program has been like half online and half in person. I've had a few asynchronous classes and mostly synchronous classes, but it's been whatever. You know, when you go through a whole year of COVID classes, everything after that just feels like a joke. At least that was my experience. You know, I had so much trouble focusing when classes were just through like WebEx or Zoom, that when I got to in-person classes, I felt like I'd mentally already given up. I just feel like I didn't take away much from my first year just because of the way classes were taught and the way teachers were unfamiliar with teaching on that kind of mode. So it just felt like a waste, and then it didn't set me up for success my next year. So that was really unfortunate. I'm not a fan at all of how my grad school experience went. But at the end of the day, I'll get the certificate that I need to go on to my career, and that's what matters, I guess. My program in particular, I think could have done a lot more to prepare me for a career, though, I will say. Like I said, I went to the University of Cincinnati in their Masters of Social Work program with a concentration in mental health. So most people concentrating in mental health plan on becoming therapists. And so I guess I thought that at some point in my classes, I would learn about what CBT was and how to do it, what DBT was, what solution-focused therapy, what, you know, all these different types of therapy were. I thought that we would really touch on that a lot and become comfortable using those things, but we didn't. This semester, my final semester, was the first time we really touched on types of therapy, and we touched on it through student presentations about the therapy, and that's just not a great way to learn in my book. You know, I want the professor with all the right information telling me stuff, not a student who's scrounging for stuff off the internet, you know. So not a big fan. You know, I really feel like they could have prepared me better to become a therapist. Thankfully, my new job is dedicated to training me to become a great therapist, you know, so that is very helpful for me to feel more confident in my future career. But if I was going into somewhere where they weren't really gonna train me much, that would be terrible and I would not do well. So I wish we had spent more time learning about the different modes of therapy and things like that, but instead we spent time talking about policy. And like, I know policy is important, but I don't know, like it didn't stick with me, and so it just felt like a waste. I don't know. There's just a lot of crap. And another thing that I can complain about my program is the fact that the teachers, the professors, were so unorganized. Okay, I had several professors that when I had them, every week or 2 weeks, I was emailing them like, hey, I don't see this assignment posted. It's due, you know, in a few days or in a week, and I don't see it anywhere. The professors were just so unorganized, and it's like they didn't know how to use Canvas. We use Canvas. It's like they didn't know how to use Canvas, as if it was a brand new technology that they had never experienced anything like before, but they had. And so it was just really frustrating to run into so many technical difficulties like that. Like, come on, like, can you not, you've got one job, it's to post the assignment, can you not just post the freaking assignment, you know? So that was just really frustrating. And you know, the professors obviously expected perfection from us as far as turning things in on time and communicating well and, you know, all that stuff, and they didn't give us the same thing in return. And it was really frustrating, and pretty much everyone in my cohort was very frustrated by that. So that was a mess. Really, I don't know. I don't feel prepared for my future career very well by my program. I know I will become prepared through my work training, but generally speaking, I don't think UC did a great job of preparing me, to be honest with you. And that's a shame, but it is what it is, I suppose. And so I'm trying to think of some positives about it. At my program, we did get set up with an internship for both of the years that were in the program. So my first internship was at a charity working with refugees who had resettled to the area. And to be honest with you, I had so much dead time during that internship that it felt like a waste of my time. And with that internship, I would just spend so much time on hold with Medicaid trying to figure out some problem for a client. And like, yes, that work needs to be done, but I felt like I wasn't learning anything after a certain point, you know, like I was just calling Medicaid every freaking day or whatever, and you know, and it was really frustrating for me to try to get something out of it, because I couldn't get anything out of it. I couldn't find much to get out of it, and my supervisor was not great. She was really picky and particular and like strict, I guess, and she laughed at me one time. I was like trying to explain something to her and she laughed at me, and that kind of just made me lose most of my respect for her, because she just laughed at me as a student, as her student. She laughed at me, and I hated that. And yeah, so that wasn't great. And then my internship this year seemed so much more promising. I was at Cincinnati Children's Hospital in the transgender clinic, and I was really excited, you know, to work with these patients and their families and stuff. But like I said, my concentration was in mental health, and I didn't do anything mental health related in this placement. And this placement was supposed to be that specialized placement. Like, yeah, I administered the PHQ-9, which is like a depression inventory survey thing, but that was it. You know, like I didn't really do much for mental health. It was really more of a generalist placement in my eyes, because I was just providing resources and talking with people and stuff. And also with that internship, I had so much dead time. Like, I guess I thought a hospital would be bustling all day long, and it kind of was, but social work just wasn't utilized very well at the hospital, at least in this little department or clinic. And so I sat around so much, and I tried to look busy sometimes. I tried to look ready to help other times, you know, like it was terrible, you know. It was like, it wasn't terrible, like it wasn't as bad as my first placement was, because my supervisor was very nice and very supportive of me, but she didn't do a great job with like giving me stuff to do. So I just had so much dead time, and I can only find so much stuff for myself to do, you know, because I don't know what to do. You know, I'm just a student here. But yeah, so both of my placements were really frustrating, but I know other people had really great experiences. I know that other people got to actually go be in a therapy role to prepare themselves to go be therapists in the real world, and I think that is super awesome. I wish I had had that kind of opportunity for myself, but I didn't, but that's okay. We're rolling with it. So yeah, that was the basis of my grad school experience. If you're wondering what the workload is like, it's a lot. They assign you so much reading. And there'd be times where I would try to read it all. I would sit down with my book and like stare at the words, right? And I would read some of it, but you know, a lot of it I didn't read. And maybe that's partially why I didn't learn. But if you're assigning me 100 pages a week per class, like, I can't do that. Like, I know they say you're supposed to spend like double the amount of time you spend in class on homework. So if it's a 3-hour class, then 6 hours on homework. But I can't do that. Like, I cannot function that way. It's too much for me in my head. So I didn't do all the reading, and I still got through the class. Like, I read the important things, I gathered the important things from class, I guess, but you know, they assign you a ton of reading. Don't stress too much about it, I guess, at least in my program. Additionally, we wrote a lot of papers. So, you know, I always heard people writing 10, 20-page papers. I'm like, how do you do that? That's so long. Oh, you do that. You do it. And it takes you hours. So, like, my thought is a page. That shouldn't take me more than 5 minutes to write, right? No. You know, like, if I had a 20-page paper, I would spend a good 6 to 8 hours on it. Like, it was brutal. It was intense. And, you know, I don't know. I don't know, just, it was a lot. Some of my professors were really easy when they graded. Some of them were really particular and hard. So I definitely recommend using the Rate My Professor website. It doesn't have every professor in the world listed on there, but you can search up a professor when you're registering for classes to see if they have a rating on that website. And if they do, you might be able to gain a little insight about what they're like as a professor and if it's something you're looking for or maybe trying to avoid. So yeah, I don't know. Grad school was just a freaking mess, honestly, with COVID, with teachers not being organized, with the program just not being what I expected it to be, with my internships not being great. You know, it has just been a lot. I'm not gonna lie. It has been a lot. And I wish that my grad school experience had gone differently. It didn't, though. Like I said, though, like I made it through, but I do have to go take a licensure exam soon, and that stresses me out because I don't know if I'm prepared. They did give us a program called LEAP that we could study with for the master's level social work exam. It was helpful-ish, I guess. Like, it was a book. I read through the book. I watched all the videos. I took the practice tests. But after I've done that all once, I really don't want to do it again. They said to go through the program like 3 or 4 times, and like, as much as I want to be able to say I can do that, I can't get myself to do that. Like, I felt like I got all I could from the program, but I felt like it wasn't necessarily enough, so I didn't know what to do. I don't know. It was just a lot, and I'm scared to take the exam. I got a second program, thanks to my mom for paying for it. I got a second program to work through to study, and I got through that program. I did a little better on those kinds of quizzes and stuff that they had on there. So maybe I'll be okay, but maybe I won't. I don't know. I just really want to pass this exam because if I don't, things get really complicated. And so, yeah, that's kind of beside the point, I guess, but I guess I'm just ready to be done with all of this. Grad school is not a fun experience. I thought it was going to be better than my undergrad experience. It was better in that I didn't get bullied, but it was not better as far as like quality of education. So yeah, definitely disappointed. I guess another good thing I can say is that it was pretty evident that the professors did care. I don't remember any professors I had that seemed like they didn't care about the students and their learning, so that was definitely really, really nice. They were probably all doctoral level, maybe some master's adjunct, but they were all like really involved in the field and clearly cared about the future of the field and training us. And that was good. You know, they were unorganized as hell, but they cared about it. So that's good. I think that's all I gotta say about grad school, though. It was hella expensive. I think it was like, what, $17,000 a year, I think. So it's like $34,000. On top of that, I did get a scholarship, I think. I was part of a fellowship. Maybe it was 17 per semester. I don't know. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It was a lot of freaking money. That's the bottom line. I am very in debt now. So, yeah, I guess that's all I got for you. I hope that this was helpful in some way. It probably wasn't very reassuring, but I hope it was helpful. I don't discourage you guys from going to grad school if you're thinking about it. If that's what your career goals need, do it, you know, by all means do it. It's what my career goals needed, so I went ahead and I did it. It wasn't a great experience, but it got done. It is done now, and that's what matters, really. Yeah, that's all I got, though. If you've got any specific questions, though, feel free to Instagram me, like Instagram DM me, or feel free to leave a comment. Again though, just check out Aunt Luisa jewelry if you're interested in shopping that. I've got the link down in the description, and I hope that you have a good day. So bye guys.